So tonight I want to talk about Signalgate and what a colossal fuck up this is in terms of our national security. I think Hegseth should be gone for sharing these detailed war plans. He should be. So tonight I want to talk about Signalgate and what a colossal fuck up this is in terms of our national security. I think Hegseth should be gone for sharing these detailed war plans. He should be gone. He should be fired, or he should quit. I think Ratcliffe, who says this is no big deal, should be fired or he should quit. Tulsi Gabbard, who is supposedly our top intel official, if she doesn't understand the sensitive nature of this information, she can't be trusted with our nation's secrets. She should be fired or she should quit. And Witkoff, that moron who was texting from overseas apparently, he should be fired for just criminal negligence. They should be gone. There should be a real reckoning over this. Now, will there be? Well, if past is prologue, they will do what they always do. They will lie, they will obfuscate, they will attack anyone critical of them. And sadly, if past is prologue, we can expect that the folks in this building, in the Senate and in the House, on the other side of the aisle, will run for cover. We'll see if there are any consequences here. But were this anyone else, were this any other administration?
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Talk about the pot calling the kettle black. Adam Schiff, who is in deep, serious trouble at this point. Hey, welcome into Courageous Media, everybody. Really appreciate everybody rolling up. Thanks for being here. Scott W. in the house. Danny Maldonado in the house. This is absolutely amazing stuff. So we had to play that little clip from Adam Schiff 3 months ago, when Signalgate broke. He was calling for people's heads, as is the continual custom of the Democrats in their one strategy that is absolutely consistent, and that is projection. Whatever you are doing, blame the other side for doing. So Adam Schiff absolutely went nuclear, unhinged on Hegseth and Gabbard and everybody else over the Signalgate issue. I guess he was hoping that maybe he could get rid of especially DNI Tulsi Gabbard, because Tulsi Gabbard had the goods on him. We are going to dive into the fact that Adam Schiff, criminal Schiff, actually, he didn't just mistakenly leak classified information. No, he orchestrated the leak of classified information. He approved the leak of classified information. He actually facilitated the leak of classified information, all to try to destroy the Trump administration. This is big time stuff. This is violations of U.S. code in terms of the treatment of classified information. This is treasonous conspiracy. This is absolutely game-changing stuff. Welcome in, everybody. So let's dive right in. Before we do, please smash that like button. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Here we go.
And tonight, an update on an Ingram Angle exclusive, a Trump administration source telling the Angle that a criminal investigation of Adam Schiff is underway, conducted by U.S. Attorney's Office in Maryland for possible charges involving mortgage fraud. Now, this follows the story we broke last month when the Federal Housing Finance Agency sent a criminal referral to the DOJ alleging that Schiff, in multiple instances, falsified bank documents and property records to acquire more favorable loan terms. In a 2011 affidavit signed by the then California congressman, he certified that a property in Montgomery County, Maryland, is his primary residence. He also owns a condo in Burbank, California, which he's also claimed is his primary residence, and said so in 2023 during his campaign for Senate.
I think just about every member of Congress has a residence in their state and a residence back in D.C. since we're in session much of the week. And people make a family decision where they're going to have their kids. But our principal residence, our primary residence is in California. It always has been and always will be.
Ruh-roh. Well, Senator Schiff has not responded to us about these allegations, but we were able to find a statement that his campaign spokesperson gave to CNN back in 2023. She said that the Burbank condo is his primary residence, but Adams' California and Maryland addresses have been listed as primary residences for loan purposes because they're both occupied throughout the year and to distinguish them from a vacation.
Which is absolutely against the law. But we've talked about Adam Schiff and his mortgage problems. Now we're adding to that the fact that he leaked classified information. This from Trump right here. You just got to love this stuff. So not only is Schiff facing 30 years for mortgage fraud, just out irrefutable proof that Adam Schiff approved plan to leak classified information to damage Donald Trump. And here it is. We've got Hannity with the story and the documents. This is absolutely groundbreaking stuff. You cannot make this stuff up. Here we go.
Russia hoax continues to unravel, according to our friend John Solomon, and a new report tonight just out, and he will join us in just a moment. A Democrat whistleblower repeatedly was warning the FBI beginning in 2017 that the congenital liar Adam Schiff had authorized leaking classified information to smear President Trump, which, by the way, could be a violation of the Espionage Act. Here with more on this breaking report.
Now realize it not only could be a violation of the Espionage Act, it is absolutely a violation of U.S. code on the treatment of classified intel. If you are not the president of the United States, you cannot leak classified information because you can't declassify it. If you have a top secret security clearance and you leak classified information, you go to prison. Just ask the military members who have accidentally, and when I say accidentally, we're talking about, if you all remember several years ago when we first started talking about classified information, there was a sailor, a United States naval sailor who was stationed on a submarine. He took pictures of the kitchen in order to show his parents where he worked. All he did he take pictures of the nuclear silo? No. Did he take pictures of the launch apparatus? No. Sonar, radar, any of that? No, none of it. He took pictures of the kitchen because he was a cook. He did not send those pictures via email or electronically. He kept them on his phone, and when he was home, he showed them to his parents. This is where I work. That gentleman was sent to prison for disclosing classified information to non-cleared individuals. Well, here's Adam Schiff leaking classified information to the public. And now he's could be facing serious jail time. Let's hope so, because there has to be real accountability for this. Let's dive in again.
The editor-in-chief, founder, chief investigative reporter, justthenews.com, John Solomon. This is a big story, and this is a Democratic whistleblower, and there might be other Democrats implicated as well, like Kinzinger.
Yeah, well, one of the guys that's in here is Eric Swalwell. Now, that is secondhand information from the whistleblower, but the whistleblower actually attended a meeting with Adam Schiff when he was ranking member. Yeah.
I stand corrected. It was they both hate Trump, so I kind of mix them up.
Yeah, they all merge together these days. Listen, this whistleblower literally sat in a meeting, he tells the FBI, where Adam Schiff authorized the leaking of classified secrets to dirty up Donald Trump and to try to build towards either a select committee in Congress or a special prosecutor. This whistleblower was a career intelligence officer. He had worked for the House Intelligence Committee, Democrat staff for a dozen years when he came forward to the FBI. He gave 4 interviews. He gave very specific information to the FBI, and nothing happened. Why? because the Justice Department simply decided to take a pass. How many times have we sat around in the last decade and heard, we're going to get to the bottom of that classified leak, and then a few months later, we couldn't get to the bottom of that classified leak? In the case of Adam Schiff, they got to the bottom of some classified leaks, but the Justice Department chose not to act. So tonight, past attorney generals, people like Merrick Garland and Jeff Sessions and Rod Rosenstein, who was acting on Russiagate, they've got some serious questions answered. Did they know about this Adam Schiff stuff? Why did they allow it to be passed on? And will anything happen in the current Justice Department?
Wow. Okay, so now you've got Schiff on mortgage fraud. Now we've got Schiff on leaking classified information. Now you've got Schiff fully embedded in whatever treasonous conspiracy Pam Bondi decides to charge these people with. Because he leaked classified information and because he leaked it as part of the hoax Russiagate probe, because he did it in order to damage President Trump, now you've got Schiff squarely in the middle of the treasonous conspiracy or the seditious conspiracy, the whole RICO case that should be being built against Schiff, Comey, Brennan, Clapper, Obama, Clinton, Susan Rice, Strzok, Page, all the above. This thing is they are starting to pull on threads, and this thing is unraveling fast. This is absolutely amazing stuff. So Schiff, who was calling for Hegseth's head and Ratcliffe's head and DNI Tulsi Gabbard's head, now should be ducking because the guillotine is coming for Schiff. And this is going to get really interesting. There has to be accountability. We have the House, the Senate, the judiciary. Trump is the president. Pam Bondi needs to do this. She needs to do it right. I believe she is. We're going to get to that at the end of this segment. She needs to do it right. And there need to be charges, indictments, perp walks, and trials. And make sure these trials are nowhere near California, the Southern District of New York, or DC. None of those federal jurisdictions will work. We have to get this out somewhere, which is why I think, even though there are multiple grand juries being impaneled, and we'll talk about that, I think this trial needs to take place in the Southern District of Florida. But let's keep going. Let me know what you think in the comments. Jody Bundren, I had no idea. I had not heard that about Adam Schiff. I will have to take a look at that. We are going to investigate that. That is very interesting stuff. It's not surprising. It's shocking. It's disgusting. But knowing who Adam Schiff is and who these Democrats are, the deep state globalist cabal of corruptocrats, it's not, unfortunately, surprising. But let's keep going. In the same vein, in a different segment, we've got James Comey now under investigation for exactly the same thing. Check this out.
Office when he wanted to change the narrative in Washington, burnish his.
Here you go.
This is a very long piece that you have here.
Yeah.
It is a worthwhile read. I'll let you sum it up, and then I want your conclusion on what you're finding here, because to me it's very damning.
Well, what you find out is that James Comey decided not to work through the FBI press office when he wanted to change the narrative in Washington, burnish his reputation against attacks from Democrats, and try to sully Donald Trump's reputation. If you remember, Democrats were mad that James Comey let out of the bag just before the election that there might be some new evidence in the Hillary Clinton email scandal. Hillary blamed Comey for throwing the election. She blamed the Russians for throwing the election. She blamed everybody but herself for throwing the election for her. But Comey was trying to rehabilitate that. And so he had an intermediary, a Columbia law professor by the name of Daniel Richman, who the FBI confirmed and interviewed. And Richmond said, yes, I used my relationship with a New York Times reporter named Michael Schmidt. He's one of the authors of the Pulitzer Prize winning package that President Trump is now suing over. And my goal was to improve negative stories about James Comey and to set a narrative, i.e. set the Russia collusion narrative. This guy worked around the official channels of the FBI press office. And at one point, the FBI noted, you met with James Comey. He gave you access to classified information. A short while later, you had a conversation with that New York Times reporter, and he ends up reporting something that appears to be classified. Did you do it? And he gives, I think, perhaps the most famous denial people will remember since Bill Clinton says it depends what the meaning of the word is when he tried to obfuscate whether he had an affair with Monica Lewinsky. He says, I can say, I don't think I confirmed the information. I can say with a discount that I didn't give him the classified information. With a discount means you got to give me some room. It's an extraordinary moment. The FBI clearly had strong suspicions that.
So now you've got Comey essentially admitting in the open that he gave classified information to a paid surrogate, somebody who he made, this Columbia professor was made a special government employee. He was given top secret clearance, evidently, so that if this ever came back to bite, theoretically, or at least in his own mind, Comey could distance himself and say, I gave the classified information to someone with a security clearance and he leaked it all on his own. That's on him. I think this is an attempt for Comey to essentially put a buffer between him and what was actually going on. But now we know from the whistleblower, we know from the Columbia professor whistleblower, we know from the Democrat FBI whistleblower that we've got two people inexorably linked with the Russia collusion hoax that have now orchestrated the leak of classified information to the press. Schiff did it directly. Schiff was a spokesperson for the globalist cabal, and Schiff leaked the classified information directly. Comey, thinking he was clever, hired this Columbia professor, made him a special government employee, gave him a salary, gave him some money, a little bribe, gave him top secret security clearance, then leaked the classified information to him with the sole understanding from the Columbia professor that he is, and this is the Columbia professor's understanding, that it was his job to then go to the press and give them this classified information. I'm sorry, James Comey is not off the hook on this one. This is conspiracy to leak classified information. It's conspiracy against rights. It is a treasonous, seditious conspiracy against the president and the government of the United States. This is damning stuff. Absolutely amazing.
This was a potential backdoor for information, maybe classified information, to get out to the media with James Comey's fingerprints on it. And they didn't go much further. They didn't put Comey before the grand jury, that we can tell. They didn't appear to put this gentleman, Daniel Richmond, before the grand jury. And like Adam Schiff, as we told you last night, here they have an eyewitness whistleblower who said, I was in the room when he authorized leaks of intel. These end up being a dead end again. And it's another reminder of a dual system of justice that the Justice Department had the last 6 years. These are documents that were never given to Jim Jordan. Jim Jordan confirmed that to me today. And we're just learning 8 years later, because of what Kash Patel turned over, that the FBI had all the evidence of how the false narrative of Russia collusion was spread across this country to the detriment of voters, to the detriment of President Trump's first campaign, and they did nothing about it.
It's a credit to the FBI. It's a credit to Kash Patel. It's a credit to the people that are involved in sharing this information now with the public. Do you see legal jeopardy here?
I think if Pam Bondi goes the grand jury route, that these are people that are going to be hauled before the grand jury. I want to remind people, most classified information statutes have a 5-year statute of limitations, but there is a provision that extends it to 10 years if it's willing and knowing. And there is some pretty clear evidence of a strong apparatus put in place to make these leaks occur, according to the FBI documents. I think a grand jury could go back and try to compel testimony and find out if it rises to the level of criminality.
They absolutely have to do this via grand jury. They have to be hauled before the grand jury, or somebody bring the whistleblowers before the grand jury. All the grand jury has to determine is there's enough evidence to indict. That's it. Then we haul them before real juries and real judges. Yes, the 5-year statute of limitations has expired. However, the 10 years has not, and this is definitely willful. Beyond that fact, we've already established that anything involved in the Russia collusion hoax can be labeled as part of a conspiracy. And the conspiracy statute of limitations doesn't start ticking until the last act of conspiratorial conduct is noted. So anything that any of these people said in the last 6 months that contributed to the Russia collusion conspiracy restarts the time frame. So every single thing that they did is now within the statute of limitations purview. I would charge them all with leaking classified information. I would charge them with mishandling classified information. I would charge them with treasonous conspiracy, conspiracy against rights, conspiracy against the United States government. I would throw everything they have at them so that you have a giant nest. You have individual charges for every single individual, and then you have a giant nested bank of charges that are all revolving around conspiracy, seditious conspiracy, you name it. But this is absolutely amazing. And as he said, the FBI has had all of this information. And you know who that puts squarely in the crosshairs as well as part of this conspiracy? Are people like Merrick Garland, who refused, Andrew McCabe, who refused to do anything with this information. They buried it. Check this out. So here we got Trump. Trump has to weigh in 100%. You know he's going to. And here's the politics headline. Comey's memo leak contact had special government employee status at the FBI. And here's Comer talking about this on Fox News about what they knew and what they're trying to get to the bottom of.
Committee Chairman James Comer. First, your response to John Solomon's report?
Well, Solomon's the best investigative reporter out there, and this is just more evidence of how the deep state tried to interfere in our elections. The deep state needs to be held accountable. The evidence is coming forward. Thank God for Kash Patel and Tulsi Gabbard and John Radcliffe. They're doing what we've hoped would be done for a long time, and that's exposing the truth. And with great investigative reporters like John Solomon, great platforms like yours, Sean, we're finally going to see justice. I think at the end of the day, more than anything, we have a new intelligence community, one that we can trust now, one that is going to be rebuilt, and hopefully we'll be safer now because we have a credible intelligence community.
Biden people are coming before your committee, and they're either pleading the fifth or they are just in flat-out denial of any decline that Joe Biden was experiencing. This memo that says, well, he can't do this event because there's too many steps, and there wasn't a whole lot of them, that he would have to walk on a ship, tells me that they all knew. Are you coming to the conclusion that everybody knew and they're either lying or covering it up?
Well, this is more evidence that there was a cover-up to try to conceal to the American public Joe Biden's mental decline and physical decline. Look, we couldn't even trust Joe Biden to walk around a ship that was used to protect the American people, and they tried to get him through for another 4-year term, much less tried to cover up to the American people the current status of the President of the United States. We look at this investigation of the auto pen, Sean, and we see all the activity that took place with that auto pen, especially over the last 90 days during the lame duck period once Donald Trump won the election.
You're going to find out that this is all intertwined. All of this is intertwined. The Russia collusion hoax was originally designed to A, obfuscate from Hillary Clinton's clear classified information leak problem with her unauthorized private server. At the same time, it was designed to help her. It was designed to denigrate Trump. Then it took on a life of its own when Trump won, despite all of their efforts. And Obama basically said, no, we need to stop the Trump presidency. This is when we get these Strzok and Page texts about the backup plan. So we've got the whole Russia collusion hoax, which was born out of operations research and Hillary Clinton doing every dirty trick to win the election. Then it became the how do we cover up, continue the cover up of all of the Obama, Biden, Clinton misdeeds, malfeasance that occurred during the Obama presidency. They had to cover all that up. They had to take Trump's presidency off the rails because it threatened to basically uncover all of this. That leads into all of the election tampering in 2020, the Hunter Biden laptop, then all the lawfare against Trump. All of this, again, was designed to keep Trump out of office, derail whatever presidency he had so that we couldn't get to exactly where we are now. People like D&I Gabbard, people like Kash Patel, people like Dan Bongino, people like Ratcliffe, basically throwing back the curtains and uncovering all of the criminal malfeasance that these people have been up to. let's not forget, which is because it's been in the news lately, let's not forget the meeting with Bill Clinton and the Attorney General at the time on the plane in the tarmac in Phoenix. Everybody thought, this was about the Clinton email scandal, that he was trying to get the Attorney General at the time to basically, Loretta Lynch, to basically push the email scandal under the rug. No. It wasn't about that, because they already knew they were in the clear. They already knew that Comey was going to recommend no prosecute. And they already knew they had the DOJ. So they were never going to prosecute that. No. That meeting was about how to keep the wraps on what was quickly becoming a bigger story out of Arkansas. And that was the Uranium One corruption deal. When the Clinton Secretary of State, the Clinton Department of State, along with Obama, sold 20% of our uranium reserves to Russia, our big enemy at the time, in return for a $146 million gift to the Clinton Foundation. It was pay to play. The only thing they were concerned about on her email wasn't the risk of criminal prosecution for classified information. It was the actual content of the emails that dictate, that actually observed all of this pay for play. Biden's pay for play, Clinton's pay for play, all of it. It's all intertwined. And this is becoming the biggest conspiracy, the most damning conspiracy of the federal government ever. Now, check this out, because I believe there need to be, and I believe based on this report here, that there already are multiple grand juries impaneled. This is a giant rat's nest, but they are coming for this. They are starting to throw the rat poison, and let's hope. We've already got rats starting to jump ship. We've got the whistleblower saying, no, I was there. I'm an eyewitness. Check this out.
Listen, the way you opened your show, there's no better description of what the conspiracy is. It's a conspiracy to protect potential Democrats from potential criminal prosecution, and then to violate the civil liberties and privacy and reputations of innocent Republicans, to create an alternate story to protect political interest, meaning what's going to happen in the election. That's what it is. It's not more complicated than that. I know people say, a conspiracy case is going to be complicated. No, it's really not. We protected Democrats. And the cycle is Hillary has two problems: email, now corruption. We can prove that was active at the time. Hunter Biden's got corruption and taxes. And by the way, the first evidence of that comes in March through May of 2016. And then 2019, it's Hunter Biden a lot more. And so we impeached the president, and we have the government actually creating stories that I think we will prove were false. And then in 21, they find Joe Biden's classified documents at UPenn office in Washington and his garage, and they got to make Donald Trump look like he's the classified guy first before they can let the cat out of the bag that Joe Biden has the same problem. It's a wash, rinse, and repeat cycle. And in the course of that, two potential crimes are occurring: obstruction of legitimate investigations. Those are overt acts of a conspiracy. And then the violation of innocent people's civil liberties to create a political ruse. That is where I believe the grand conspiracy case is headed. I believe that there are multiple grand juries that have begun work around this country in multiple jurisdictions outside of Washington, where evidence is now being gathered.
You do? I
do.
Can report that, or you have reason to believe that?
Nope, I have confirmed witnesses and who've had contact with the grand jury. So there are grand jurors in multiple locations. Some of those are in Virginia. I believe one is going to begin based on early discussions in Pennsylvania. There may be one in New York. And so the activity has begun.
The activity has begun. Let it be so. Multiple grand juries: Virginia, D.C., New York, Pennsylvania, Florida, grand juries. Let's convene grand juries in Arkansas. Let's convene grand juries wherever these people acted, get all the information, and wrap this thing up in a gigantic big bow. As he said, there are two levels to this conspiracy. It was the conspiracy against Donald Trump, against the Trump presidency, against the wishes of the American voter. And there was also the ongoing conspiracy to cover up all of the Democrat crimes, not only in terms of the actual conspirators within the conspiracy itself, but Uranium One. Let's not forget Benghazi and the reason that they had to cover that up. Let's not forget all of the other malfeasance that went on. This puts other people that are not normally associated with the Russia collusion square in the middle, in the crosshairs of this conspiracy charge. People like Merrick Garland, people like Rod Rosenstein, people like Andrew McCabe. Let's make sure that every single one of them gets their just desserts. There have to be prosecutions. There have to be indictments, charges, perp walks, and trials. If not, then these people will continue to do it without fear of retribution. And there must be judicial retribution. Let me know what you think in the comments. It's going to be up to us. We have to keep the pressure on our congressmen, our senators, the people in the media. We need to make sure, we, the American people, need to make sure that there is justice meted out for what these people have done. Absolutely bombshell stuff. Thanks everybody for rolling up. Reppins, what WTF is with the discount? Basically, it's cross your fingers behind your back, and I can tell a lie now because I'm crossing my fingers. That's how childish and idiotic these people are. Yes, he authorized the release of classified information. Everybody knows it. He knows it. It's absolutely ridiculous. All right, now we got two more stories. Our third story of the day, we got more Democrat losing. The Democrats are getting pummeled in this whole Russia hoax thing, but at the same time, the Republicans have figured out how to fight fire with fire. They have figured out how to govern, at least some of them. So the Texas state legislature is redistricting to basically add 5 Republican seats, subtract 5 Democrat seats, and the Democrats went absolutely nuts. Well, so in order to try to prevent this from happening, the Democrats staged a walkout. They fled the state to deny the legislature quorum so they couldn't vote. Well, that didn't go well because basically the Republicans didn't just roll over. Abbott and the state legislature Republicans basically said, okay, we're going to file warrants for arrest. We're going to file charges for bribery. We're going to dry up the money from Beto O'Rourke. We're going to get the FBI involved. We're going to charge you $500 a day. We're going to freeze your bank account so you can't get direct deposit. This is all amazing stuff, and it has led to one inexorable conclusion. The Democrats just blinked and are losing again. Check this out from our friend, Dr. Steve.
It's being called the Great Texas Democrat Spectacular Fail. After fleeing their own state, abandoning their sworn duties, and hiding out in the single most gerrymandered state in the nation, Illinois, in their own hypocritical protest of Texas's supposed gerrymandering, the Texas House Democrats have admitted total and complete defeat. Now, of course, they're doing their best to desperately try to spin this as a win, but even the legacy media is wincing at the cringeworthy attempts at gaslighting here, made all the more obvious against the backdrop of the Texas Senate passing the redistricting map just yesterday, making the 5 GOP seat pickup in the state inevitable. And once again, not to be outdone, Democrats in the Texas Senate stormed out of the chambers as well in the face of this colossal loss. Once again, the entire nation is watching these supposed defenders of democracy refuse to participate in the democratic process.
Where Republicans get 40% of the vote and have 0 seats. It's absolutely crazy stuff. So the Texas Democrats fled to the most gerrymandered state in the union, and even the legacy media cannot defend these people because they're in the most gerrymandered state in the union. It's absolutely ridiculous. So it is utterly failed. The inexorable conclusion is that they will pass the redistricting. The Senate has already passed it. The House will pass it as soon as these people return and they get quorum. Here's another lifeline on the story. All right, so They have returned. They're returning. Here they are getting back on the plane in order to return. And one of the reasons for this is because the Republicans didn't roll over. Like I said, Abbott immediately took and said, no, we are not only going to charge you with potential bribery, we're going to ask for warrants for your arrest. Oh, and we are going to remove you from your office for dereliction of duty, for basically abandoning your office. They immediately sued Beto O'Rourke, who was the money, his PAC was the money behind all this, and said, not only will you not provide any more money, if you do, we're going to charge you with bribery. Then they fined them $500 a day, said that they could not get any of their state house money via direct deposit. It had to be in person. They essentially froze them out of the process and hastened this whole thing. They tried this once before, a few years ago, when Texas was doing something. This, I think, was the Voting Rights Act. And they refused to participate, and that failed miserably too. So they've now failed on this. I think it's 3 times they've tried this, and every single time has failed. But here's another story, reiterating the fact that they are returning now. This is great stuff. This will pass, and the Republicans will pick up 5 seats in the House before the midterms.
ABC 13 did confirm this afternoon that the Texas House Democrats are going to come back to the state for a second special session. The timing of that still uncertain. It really depends on when that second special session begins, which could be as early as Friday. Now, since our initial reporting on this at 4 o'clock, the Texas Democratic caucus reached out to our partners at ABC News and asked the language be changed. They initially asked for a correction and said that no formal decision had been made, that returning to Texas was among many options. Nobody from the Democratic caucus reached out to me asking that we correct our reporting or make any changes. However, we do want to include language that they sent to both us and ABC News. Members are still assessing strategies going forward and are in private meetings to make decisions about future plans currently. If and when Texas House Democrats breaking quorum decide to go home is squarely dependent on the actions of the governor, speaker, and Texas Republicans in charge with regard to prioritizing flood victims over redistricting that hurts Texans. Now, that came 40 minutes after our initial reporting, and we only went forward with that reporting after.
So they're returning. They don't want anybody to know they're returning. They don't want it to be in the news. And they're also getting blasted here in Texas because when they walked out of bills that would have given money to the flood victims in Kerrville. Everybody remember Camp Mystic and the 23 girls that were lost in that. Children. They're denying them not compensation, but they're denying them aid and help, and all the people who lost their homes, they're denying them help and aid because of their stupid little temper tantrum, because they don't want to pass redistricting, which is the right of the Texas Republicans to do. This is absolutely awesome stuff. They will get this done. This is a foregone conclusion now. The Democrats have lost. They've got egg on their face. They look dumb. They look weak. They look stupid. And so, in our 4th story of the day, they have turned to other people because they want the next Joe Rogan. They need somebody who they think they can fight. This, however, is not a winning strategy. Check this out. This from this ridiculous, unhinged B-list actress has just gone off. This is not a winning strategy. Here we go. Let's dive into our 4th story of the day, Jennifer Welch.
I've had it with white people that triple trumped, that have the nerve and the audacity to walk into a Mexican restaurant, a Chinese restaurant, an Indian restaurant, go to perhaps their gay hairdresser. I don't think you should be able to enjoy anything but Cracker Barrel. And if you want to triple Trump and you want to browbeat DEI and you want to browbeat gay people and you want to browbeat black people as you've been doing for 400 years. And you want to browbeat this generation of immigrants that come over here and open up businesses earnestly, pay their taxes. You want to demonize them and call them rapists and felons and all this shit when the felon is the teeny weeny mushroom cock piece of shit, Kankles McTaco tits at the top of the ticket. I have fucking had it from top to bottom. White people that triple Trump should be banned, boycotted from enjoying the best thing that America has to offer, which is multiculturalism. Get your fat asses out of the Mexican restaurant. Get your fat asses over to Cracker Barrel, because nobody wants to see your fucking smug ass, teeny weeny, pink arm, big gut around. Nobody wants to see that shit. No one.
Absolutely amazing. They actually think this is a winning strategy? This is absolutely nuts. This woman is disgusting. Her unhinged, profanity-laced rant does nothing but turn people off, especially since it is so clearly racist. This woman is gross. Okay, so I'm a white triple Trumper. So is my wife is also a triple Trumper. She's Mexican. So am I not allowed to be married to my Mexican wife because I'm a white triple Trumper? What does she do? She's a Mexican triple Trumper. Are we not allowed to go to a Mexican restaurant? We can't have Mexican food in our own home? This woman is a racist, absolute, disgusting nitwit. And talk about, let's body shame what she thinks is conservative men. What, I guess they're redneck and fat. Hello, Scarecrow. So why don't you lay off the Botox? It's not candy. Right? I mean, she's taking Botox like she's addicted to heroin. It's absolutely nuts. Her face is scary and gross. You have no room to talk, honey. This is absolutely crazy stuff. So what about people like Greg Foreman, Black Conservative Perspective? Is he not allowed to go to a Mexican restaurant or a Black restaurant? How about the Indians out there who supported Trump? Are they not allowed to go to Indian restaurants? The upcoming governor of Ohio? I mean, this is ridiculous. And talk about people who have denigrated Black people for 400 years. That is the definition of the Democrat Party. Democrat Party, the party of slavery, the party of Jim Crow, the party of boycotting and filibustering the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act. It's absolutely nuts. Check this out, because Fox News had some things to say about this. They were clearly not impressed.
Ohio has Cracker Barrels. We actually look forward to eating them.
They're the best. Men.
You know, the cheese in the middle of the table. Oh, God. Delectable.
How about the peg game? Just the peg game alone.
The peg game itself was
Cracker Barrel
another
is a national
winner.
treasure. Yeah. And you know who knows that? Every ethnic group in this country. It is not a predominant white restaurant. It's Black people, it's Latino people, Asian people, it's Muslim people. Everybody likes Cracker Barrel. Who doesn't want chicken and dumplings on the side of a highway? Okay, it's like, it's spiritual nourishment. And when she goes out and makes this other argument that, like, oh, MAGA voters shouldn't be anywhere near Mexican or Chinese restaurants. First of all, yes, Wardrobe wants me to stay out of Mexican and Chinese restaurants. I concede that, but it's not because of my politics. It's so lazy to make the assumption that only white people voted MAGA.
The horror movie. Yes.
Yeah, people like Greg Foreman, people like my buddy Deshaun, wise perspective, Vivek Ramaswamy, Kash Patel. I mean, it's absolutely nuts, these people. Byron Donalds, just to name a few. It's lazy, it's racist, and it's hate-filled. And the Democrats embracing people like this shows that it's exactly who they are. Basically, 95% of Democrats are exactly that. Racist, lazy, hate-filled. They want power, and that's all they want, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to get it. Hence, the first two stories of today's show, all about the conspiracy, the collusion, the covering up of all their malfeasance and crimes. It's absolutely crazy. Let me know what you think. Really appreciate everybody rolling up. Long show today. Had a lot to get to. We're out for a couple of days. Thanks so much, you guys, for being here. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know how we're doing. Please give us comments for the algorithm. Share a Courageous Media with everybody that you know. And if you really like the content, please consider joining us as a member. Hit that join button there on YouTube. Become a member of the Courageous Army today. Help support the show. Thanks so much. Till I catch you next time.